Today I will introduce you to the best 3 seasonal champions per line that are great performing on Korean servers. I'm LJ, I've been a professional coach for over 10 years and I'm here to share information from a variety of world-class pro player. Get started. Before we get into the champions, let's summarize the changes coming in 14.19 and how they characterize the meta and direction of the game. This is patch note. The main thing to look out for is the nerfed values of various items. This made HP itself more valuable and indirectly buffed the champions associated with it. In addition, the duration of the fight itself has become longer, making champions like aggro ping pong, long breath combat abilities, and champions with good CC turnover more popular. The first top champion is Jax. Jax is the one that best meets all the criteria described above. He's more susceptible to various items that have been tuned. He's more susceptible to health items like Sundered Sky and Sterek. On item point, with the option of items like Jonya, it's a great way to cover a lot of comp, and split push and group fight look good either way. The second champion is Gnar. This champion is similar to Jax, but has a bit more lane strength. In a meta with more full clear jungle, Gnar is a strong champion that can power lanes in that meta while also controlling the late game. Gnar is also a good option for split push and group fight. Third champion is Kennen. Unlike the previous 2 champions, this champion has a very short group fight duration. However, as a ranged champion, he has a lot to gain by holding the line longer than anyone else. Many AP items were nerfed in this patch. Meanwhile, the most efficient of these items are Storm Surge and Shadow Flame. Shadow Flame's itemization build is very strong after Hextech Rocket Belt, which takes health and utility. In a meta that emphasizes 1 versus 1 lane strength, he is the best meta champion to showcase his strong lane abilities, split push, and overwhelming group fight destruction. Let's explore the jungle that drives meta. The first champion is Elise. This season's Elise has been patched with a variety of utility changes that add convenience and fight options to the game. In a full clear meta, abandoning jungle camp and throwing in a variety of gambles yields the most efficient returns, especially in dives and small fights. You can recreate Elise in her old mobility boots, running fast and ganking a lot with the Nimbus Cloak, Water Walking Rune and Gust Walker Hatchling starting item, along with some very powerful items that can be utilized late game. And the Spider E skill also gives you a lot of options for combat roles in group fight. Like this, champions who can balance these different options are much loved by Koreans. The second champion is Skarner. Skarner is one of the champions that has the most to do with the game's breathing in the patch notes mentioned above, rather than direct buffs. Item nerfs and pure max HP power make him the best champion to use to win games. Based on the Heartsteel item, which builds up your max HP, you can play a strong timing in the early, middle, and end games. And when Skarner gets Sterox complete, Skarner turns into the strongest and most CC champion. Skarner jungle speed is a bit slower, but this allows him to be more creative with his ganks, as he can try different creative ganks than typical jungle champions. Skarner versatility in group fight, including his ability to fill a variety of roles such as making initiation and defense, makes him a very strong performer this season. The third champion is Karthus. Karthus is generally thought of as a champion that plays for growth and ultimate value with overwhelming growth, but in this patch, he works in a slightly different way that is also very effective. That approach is very powerful when fights are longer and more breath. He didn't get a nerf to his jungle speed, and with the current meta being so aggressive with liner champions, the power of his ultimate interruption in fights is huge. He's a bit of a defensive champion, but since group fight started, he can be utilized as an offensive champion more than anyone else. Let's take a look at which champions dominate the mid. The first champion is Sylas. Sylas is a champion who surprisingly directly benefited from the item patch. Lichbane's spell power buff is very powerful to begin with, and the increased breadth in the fight means that Sylas can utilize his W even more. There are a lot of champions with high value ultimates, so this is also a strong draft wise. His power curve is also high across the board in the early, mid, and end game. The second champion is Orianna. Orianna is a champion that helps you grow through strong lane play. After her growth, she fulfills various roles in group fights. Her strengths are in utilitarian aspects like movement, speed, shields, and group fights with her ultimate. All of this means that he is well suited to a long-breathing meta. Orianna is once again the meta champion in this meta. A champion who can control the lane and win the game in a variety of ways from early to late game. The third champion is Yone. Yone is a great champion to utilize the reintroduced Lethal Temp. The Lethal Temp rune, which scales with your attack speed, works very well with the Blade of the Ruined King item. The current meta, where you can roll multiple E-skills and get in a hit, as opposed to the risky playstyle of maximizing the effectiveness of ultimates in the past. This is a champion that can be played in a variety of ways. He doesn't have a specific counter champion in the mid lane, making him a great first pick. Yone, who has been consistently rated highly since last season, will once again solidify his place as a meta champion with lethal tempo. With all of the AD items getting nerfed, let's take a look at which champions are dominating the season's AD carry. First up is Jhin. With the low item value of AD champions, we're seeing a shift towards more utilitarian champions. Jhin fits this perfectly. His ranged CC and support fire from his ultimate are very effective in fights. His strength in lane, coupled with the stability of his static shiv, makes him a clear meta favorite. The second champion is Ashe. Ashe came to mind for some of the same reasons as Jhin. However, Ashe is a great champion to have the best of both points, utilitarian with CC, and maximizes the impact of lethal tempo rune. Her strength in lane is also very important, and she doesn't have a specific counter champion this mean great to doing first pick. A similar item build to Yone also minimizes the impact of item nerfs on the meta. The third champion is Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's item build is different from the AD item nerfs. Unlike a typical AD item build, she has a static shiv for stability and Guinsoo Nashor to minimize the impact of the nerf. Defensively, you have options for combinations like Shonya and Quicksilver. In fights, you have a lot of options to switch between offense and defense to cover different parts of the fight. The only bad point is that in the early lane phase, it can be a bit of a struggle to survive until static shiv item. But after that, his carry is more reliable than anyone else. The final lane is the supporters. First champion is Rell. Rell is a good champion who has increased his champion value along with the value of her health items. With a high CC count, Rell is very optimized for creating good situations in a row. Her ability to create long breaths in group fights is very good. Her lack of tanking ability when she engaged the fight can create a dangerous situation, but patches have indirectly made her very strong, and she is now a solid meta champion. The second champion is Leona. Like Rell, Leona's champion value has increased along with the value of her HP items. Leona's W's armor and magic resist are very well matched with the efficiency value of her HP items. Leona's ultimate ability and short CC cooldown also make her a very good long breath in group fights. Leona's similar determination to Rell's makes her a worthy contender for best Korean meta champion. The third champion is Poppy. Poppy has different strengths than the previous two champions. Her ability to block supporters' ability to enter is key in lane phase, making her completely unplayable against core champions. This, coupled with his ability to control the number of people in a group fight with his ultimate, can be devastating. He's also very good at blocking W in the middle of a fight, giving his teammates a chance to catch their breath. So even though Poppy is playing more on the counter comp wise, he is a very effective force to be reckoned with given the preferences of the meta champions. That's it for all the Korean meta champions. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to get more tips like it.